nne m mụta mụkpọ ma amụta ezulike amụta ya amụta ezulike amụta nworu nesịa mụkpọ ma ụbụbara nzenze ụbụbara aga m ananụ ụbụbara nzenze je tapara.
This is the Center for Research in Igbo History and Culture. Today is Friday, the 18th of May, 2024, and we are back here at Hoopla World TV studios after a short break. In the first segment, you had the distinct pleasure of listening in on a discussion of Igbo folktales and the Igbo world view by three Amazons, three Igbo women of substance, and my very special guest today. In this segment, we'll be taking a look at Things Fall Apart and his portrayal of the coming of the white man and the crushing impacts of colonialism on the culture and worldview of the Igbo man. Thank you for joining us and do stay tuned. Thank you, Barrister, for that insight. Prof, there's something I've often wondered about, and maybe you could help us a little. Chinua Achebe wrote Things Fall Apart. I understand at the age of, is 28 or 26?
All I know is that he finished his first degree before. Let's continue, I don't know age.
I think he wrote Things Fall Apart at the age of 26 or maybe 28. It wasn't certainly it wasn't 29.
No,
Probably
36. But we can look it up.
When he wrote
that would be an assignment to our viewers to look at.
No, when he wrote Things Fall Apart.
That's what
It was 28.
I don't know. It's ascertainable. We can find out.
Yes, I have a reason for pointing that out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, it was 28 when he wrote Things Fall Apart. And what I'm thinking about is this: the depth till today. The more you analyze, the more you study Things Fall Apart, the deeper. It's as if layers upon layers of information, cultural information, are revealed. How could he have come up with that kind of?
His first degree is in history, you know that?
Okay.
So he has the written history and the informal history.
And then he has a big sister.
I ask you because I know you are from the same place. You are from.
And then he has a big sister that told him stories growing up. He said it too.
Okay, he mentioned that.
I think that is Miss Bishop Beze's wife, Mrs. Beze. Yeah, the big sister. When she died, I think BBC, I hope I'm not quoting wrong, went there to interview her. So you know that even our story, apart from our mothers and fathers, when the mother has gone to the farm, father has gone to the farm, who is taking care of us? Not auntie. The oldest sister becomes mama, our mama, and then that oldest sister is the one that sits down with the younger ones and telling them their story just to keep them calm. Just to keep them in the house. Because in those days, if you wander off in the midday, you could be kidnapped. Remember? We are not allowed to go out in the midday. We even have folk tales about that. How you meet the spirits.
Yes, at high noon, at Ogolu. Yes.
So your parents have gone to Ago to farm or something. The oldest child, most often the girl, is in charge of the family, will be in the house, make lunch, tell you stories until parents come back. So according to some stories is that the lady told him a lot of these stories when they are growing up. But you see, many are called, the few are chosen. So there were many that told the stories, but he was the one that is stuck with her. And he built upon it. He studied history, he added, and then he will know the history of the contact that we had with the Igbo culture and the white culture had. And the result of that, moving from agrarian economy to money economy. How, and you know what happened then was, the agrarian economy was your farming, you're bringing farm, and all of a sudden, some people came with white people and they're earning money. So you farm from January to December and everything, put your yam together, they will use their money to buy your farm, buy the yam you produced. You see now, money economy is now superseding the yam and everything you produce. If not even trade by barter, just, okay, they were doing trade by barter, so where there's equality. Now, even now, when you check the economy, you find that when we have raw material, and like cocoa, white man can buy it like 1 penny and come back and sell chocolate to us for £1. So do you see? So it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. The money that has been legitimized is not being used to buy their yam. So you don't have money. Now people working for the government, the cutmans have money. And on top of that, any little thing, you have to give the cutman bribe. From the little money you realize from your family again. See? So that's
cutman for
the cut clerk. So cutman is the cut interpreter. We even have choke where Iloma Jugoji will be interpreting for him. And even in this part, he said, they don't even know our language. How can they know our culture if you don't know our language? And I'll give you an example. Iloma Jugoji was in the court, and then two people were fighting, right? And over a piece of land. And then the white man looked and said to the other one, oh, it looks like this man is suffering from hepatitis. Iloma Jugoji tried to translate it. He said, do you have a brother called Habat? He said yes. Do you have one called Titus? He said yes. They're the ones killing you. That's the meaning of hepatitis. So judging cases in ignorance. They're judging cases in ignorance because even the interpreter is one step removed. He doesn't know English, doesn't even know the Igbo of the people he came to. Remember, he came from the riverside to a place where their own dialect is different. You don't even know what they're saying. Does that make sense now?
Yes. And one other aspect that intrigues me about these folk tales, apart from their dispersion, apart from their homogeneity across communities.
Actually, it's not homogeneous. It depends on the dialect. I have some stories that are told different ways in 3 or 4 dialects, different ways.
But if the substance, is the same, there are dialectical differences and certain other nuances as he picks up, certainly as he goes. But the how do you say it? The seed of it, the kernel.
They are using different. For instance, Ububala Zenze and Aboma. This one was, this woman went and got a pot of oil. The spirit told him, and he became a child, Aboma, but he's not allowed to go into the sun. But the wicked sent the child to go and pick up, and then it melted. So you have that one. But the same concept comes with Ububala and Zenze. The woman again is looking for a child, and he was told to take this leaf, Ububala and Zenze, to go and call a child, but nobody can call the child Ububala and Zenze. And then the wicked co-wife called it, and then he started running. That is Newi side. Then the other side we say their own. Yeah, amute zulike amuta moru nese amupo mubu balanzenze oboba agamana no bo balanzenze je tapara. You see, that is Imo now. Don't you see? Tapara is Imo dialect, but this one is New. So it's the same concept, but they're using different symbols.
Different dialects.
Different dialects, different symbols. This one is using Obobala and Zenze. The other one is using Okwa. The other one is using palm oil.
But the theme remains the same. The message remains the same.
The same message.
And one
that
thing,
you should not divulge people's secret, because they divulge the secret of the child. This child can never descend to the earth because he will melt. Of course, you're
you should keep your stories to
keep it to yourself.
No matter how close you are with the so-called friends and family, because there are certain things you still need to keep to yourself.
Educative as well.
So you see, now you know that you cannot say, okay, my friend, you know, I just got this child from taking this guava leaf. Don't ever say that, because it will kill the child. The day you will get angry with me, that's the first thing you will do. You might regret it after, but it's done, right?
Yes, that's true.
I think the then people, those olden days people, or the people at that century, that time, they had a lot. They had
very diligent people.
There was no book, no, like you said, just local people, but they had
that's their book.
Local intelligence. They had culture, because they had culture, they had things you have to do before you marry, or how to come of age. They have things that this is the way a married woman should be and this is the way a married man should be to provide for your family. And they now use these stories to tell their story, to tell the history that in this part of Igbo land, they do this, you know. And then this one you just said about somebody that wants to adopt a child or get a child. They now tell you this story that true, because it's unheard of that somebody will go and bring a child from outside into the home, but then it was done. You know, some people today do not believe in adoption.
It was done then.
You go back in history to those stories.
You find that these things were the adoption was there.
Somebody will carry a child from the forest.
You will also see a lot of these stories in Solar Part. And once you meet that story, don't just treat it like just a story, because it has a meaning within that story. For example, the Ezelin Nasala in Things Fall Apart, when he came in was going to was told he was going back to his place,
yes.
And then he started singing Ezelin Nasala Ezili Kwaya Ekwaba Kwali Oli Ebetanda Danda is the ant. It eats dead people.
Okay.
Uzuzu is the sound you become when you're dead. Ezelin is like telling Okonko, don't do this, don't do this. If you do it, you will regret.
This boy calls you. This boy calls your father.
After killing his life spiraled.
Yeah.
He started getting it. That was after that he started going down the hill until he committed suicide. And then look at his death now. Suicide was abomination. People cannot bury him except strangers. Strangers caused him to commit suicide. Strangers will bury him. See? So that even those folk tales, they have deep meanings, and that is his own rhetorical topos. It's called topos. The point he used, what he uses to expand his story. He didn't just get a story and plug in there. No. And you see, any story you see in Chinua has another 2-3 more layers of meaning within that story.
It.
And then you use the rhetorical weapons, tools to analyze it.
And then I'm thinking of another aspect of these stories, the interchangeability between humans and animals that runs the gamut of all these stories. You know, you see humans transforming into animals, you see the fish becoming, you know, and things like that.
In one of the stories I wrote.
And Aleland, Salam Anyibi no biu. Yes.
And then so they were living, and eventually she turned into mommy water. So I'm not telling you how we got mommy water.
What I got from that story then was that they all came to marry somebody. Do you understand? And then when they took the girl, and they were going, and when they got to the river, they have to change back to so fish. He now started introducing us, all of them, as they come, everybody is going into the river to follow, but I think she now followed the man.
Followed Asa, because Asa is so beautiful. He followed Asa into the river and then turned into mommy water. Just another thing you notice is the idea that human beings and animals are talking the same language. You know, they will tell you the story about this tortoise came and saw this old woman pounding food and eating, and it was so, and even the spirit world, they also communicate with the spirit world.
Yeah, so there was this interchangeability between the human, the animal, the spirit.
Not even interchangeability, but mixture.
There was a mixture.
You know,
they all happen at the same time.
The world is not divided. You know the Ojadele one, Ojadele living the world of the living, because he's such a good wrestler, he's this, he's that. He got there, he wrestled all the spirits and won them, but then they decided, because you can never wrestle your spirit is you. So they went and got his spirit to wrestle him. Now look at it. If he is smart, he wouldn't wrestle his spirit, but he is what? Arrogant and pompous. How can he, I am the winner, I must win. How can you win your spirit?
That is the lesson.
That's the lesson there.
That's the lesson.
You do not fight your spirit.
Yeah.
See?
You cannot fight
Then
yourself.
the spirit warned him, but again they will show you why we had certain things, because they try to explain certain phenomena in our body. So the spirit killed him. What happened? They went to get something to carry him. Our accolades that we have in this politics now started, saw what they did. They used some leaf to make the other spirits to cough and sneeze and get up. He went and picked that leaf and did it to Jadele. He got up to started, as they were going, Jadele said, but you have to let the spirit know that I escaped. So he started playing. Oh, Jadele, ngolo di ngolo di di Jadele, ngolo di ngolo di ngolo di ngolo di ngolo di ngolo di give him ngolo di ngolo di ngolo. The spirit had it and came. And then when the spirit came, they disappeared. They don't one become this, one became this. The spirit went back. They kept doing that until they got to the boundary between human beings and the spirit land. And sang again. Then the spirit saw them as they were crossing and scratched on Jadele. That's why we have this groove on our back. And you know it's your wicked one. If it breaks, you can't. You are paralyzed. The spinal cord.
The spinal cord.
You see, they have stories about whatever we have. They will tell you why this happens. The other one, we are talking about the girl that refused to marry. The story was why the kite preys on chicks. Because when that girl married that python, and they got to the forest, and she found that the man had already given back the leg, the hand, and it's just this python. Every day, the python's mother will give her okuma to rub, shea butter, to rub on the body of the egg so that it will remain shiny. And that's the only work she was doing. After they've eaten, they vomit whatever they've eaten and make her eat. Then she saw a kite and started crying, begging the kite to rescue him. So by then he was so skinny, the kite could carry her and flew to her father's compound and dropped her. They couldn't recognize her. When they saw her, the father took her, and the kite was standing like this on the tree. They said, what do we give to this kite? They brought money, kite was looking at them. They brought clothes, kite was looking at me, was looking at chicken. So one man said, look at those chicken, that's what the kite is looking at. So they got a basket filled with chicks and gave the kite. On flying off, one fell. He looked around and continued and went there. Every time he comes back for that chick.
Okay, so that's
why
the kite keeps coming back, searching for that missing.
No, he will carry because it's his investment. Those are this of his chick, the children of the chick, they've gone. So that's why he prays on chick. So our people will always find reason why any phenomenon occurs.
And now there's another theme that goes through these stories, and that is. Apart from personification or specification, also the characteristics given to these spirits and animals. You know, for instance, in the Igbo side, the tortoise is regarded as the trickster, the wise one, and
I don't know if he's wise. He's not wise. He's just a trickster. Watch. Eventually, whatever he does comes back on him.
Comes back.
Because it's not wise. It's just tricky, and you find people who are like that.
That's an interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
After why
the tortoise is wise and
no, it's just tricky because
too. Yeah.
No, it's not wise, but he comes up with all these things to get to overcome obstacles. But in the process of doing it, he does something that is negative to nature, and it catches up with him. Yes, because I remember that
he breaks his back.
Yes. After doing for whom and for all of us, he ate everything that belongs to all of us and broke to pieces. And even the politicians should know what it means. We eat everything that belongs to all of us. That's what it means. Good no, it's true. He's a politician in that one.
Princess, are you saying that sunk in somewhere?
Yeah.
They talk about the politicians.
You can relate relate with that today.
Yeah, relate with that today. If you eat anything that belongs to all of us,
Yes.
you will fall at some point and break your back into pieces. Even the one about being wise, there was this story about tortoise deciding to be the wisest animal. So he collected all the wisdom in the world and put in a calabash and had it here. Then he came to a palm tree that fell on the road and was trying to climb over. Each time, then Unza, the bird, then said to him, "Come, why don't you take this calabash and put at your back so you can climb over?" So he did it and he climbed over. What is he telling us? Nobody has all.
Nobody has the perfection of wisdom.
You don't have it all. Even a little bird was able to tell him how to
What to do.
how to cross over. See? So it's not wisdom. He doesn't have the wisdom, but he has the wily way. He has the everything to. Anything he does is trying to get one over anybody.
They depict tortoise as like
Trickish and always trying to get one over everybody. Always trying to, and you can never, unreliable.
Yes,
Trickish,
unreliable.
Because that's
Trying to take from other people.
always taking what doesn't belong to him, and always tricking people
to gain a position.
And whenever they find out, they hit him. Look at the one
There's
about
one in
his
your
head.
book.
Yeah,
That you wrote the tortoise and the elephant. I read
okay. That one is the one that this man sang in his song, but our own song is different.
That's Ejara.
But his own is different from our own again, because our own song is watermelon.
Yeah, you heard that. You wrote
I
that.
said, "Dear Nimbe, it's a new quartonia, galalanga. Asimania Nezamania galala, Onezamania galala, Godizayanya can sing an quartain, galalanga." The other one is Okwenyi Gabisioche, no. This one is that he was on top of the Eni to go and give to the in-law. And at a point he said to, "Oh, it's so hot, I want to come under you." No,
When they were
to
getting the palace.
He came under. But when he was on top, he had already looked for a rope to tie like a horse, saying, "I will break my back if I don't hold a rope." They gave him a rope, he tied the neck. Then he came under. Then he picked the rope and was under, and the elephant was walking. So he now was saying, "Ogom, watermelon." And you know, the back of the elephant was brushing his back.
Okay.
Ogom,
Okay.
it's an important galalanga. Anyway, ask him this. He said, and asimania nezamania galala. O nezamania galala, Godizayanya cosino poteni.
Galalanga.
You tell the elephant a different thing.
So you see, they tell the laws there's something different. So you see, it's not wisdom. It's a 419 in a way.
And do we see? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? The politician again infused into this, telling the elephant one thing and telling the.
It's the same thing. All these things resonate with real life because it's literature. Folktale is life. It's literature. Our ancestors looked at life and used the animal to depict it. One of the people I read their book said they use animal because they're afraid that if they use a human being, the person will kill them.
Okay.
Like if it is a king and you start using the king in that story, you might be killed, right? So they will use an animal. So that we are talking about.
That's what happened with Animal Farm. With George Orwell and the Animal Farm.
All animals are equal.
All animals are
equal than the others.
To avoid stalling.
It shows you the pig. It shows you that all of a sudden changed.
Government.
And started walking on two legs. Before they used to say 2 legs bad, 4 legs good. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's the same thing. How they're changeable. That's all it is. So folk tales are really that wisdom in a nutshell that parents dish out to their children to help them deal with life outside the home. They use it so that if somebody comes to do something, "Oh, daughter, you're coming to deceive me." See? Because it's always a deceiver.
This story about Nwambe. But I think it's about the story of when there was a wrestling contest between the elephant, I think, and the Nwambe, the smallest,
beetle, you mean?
no, rat,
Rat.
mouse.
Is it mouse or ant?
Mbe, no.
Mbe?
That smallest rat, that mouse.
Yeah,
the very smallest one.
It can live in Kapu, no?
No, Nkawu is mesmo, but this is the smallest species of rat. And I think he challenged, I think the elephant continues to boast about his might.
And it was a nest with David and Goliath.
David and Goliath, precisely. So that small Mbe challenged the elephant to a wrestling match. And everyone said, how are you going to do it? How are you going to handle? All the elephant has to do is just to step on you and then you are counted out.
But the elephant is not that fast.
Yeah, so
before we finish lifting his leg to stand for this.
The Mbe simply ran into the backside into the anus of the elephant, and they began to run havoc in the intestines of the elephant. The elephant said, "Eba agada one," you know. Or can you sing agada one? I see agada one ni rike. Agada one. Yes. The only thing is or see by agada one. I see agada one ni rike. You know, don't fall. They continue to prop him up with a kind of unrealistic
something is eating up his
eventually he fell.
So don't ever
and when he fell, one bear just popped out the way he came out and began to
so don't ever neglect anybody or underrate anybody or
don't underrate anybody.
As Fela said, everybody getting power everywhere.
Everybody get power.
Emma Kamogonogo. So everybody had his power. But one thing that intrigues me is how did the goat acquire the reputation for being foolish? You know,
I will give you that one. Okay? But it starts with how the he-goat got his smell.
Okay.
Okay, so that story was the one about there was this famine in the town, in the area, both in human place, in the spirit world, in the forest. And the only person that was eating then, looking good then, was tortoise. And he was going to the spirit land and eating their food. So the hen kept saying, "Tortoise, tell me what you were doing." The cock, "What are you doing? What have you been doing? What have you been doing? You look so fresh. You and your wife." He said, "I won't tell you because you make so much noise." He said, "No, I won't." He said, "No, you talk too much. I won't tell you." After some time, he agreed. He took them. So when they got to the farm, to the spirit world, they waited until the man and the wife, they are blind. Okay. So when they bring out their food to eat, they have a rhythm. Tortoise tell the hen to watch, or the cock to watch and see the rhythm before it could join. So the man will take food, tortoise will try to take at immediately the man is taking, so they take at the same time. The woman will take food, the tortoise wife will take immediately. So nobody's hand is touching. Right? So
but the food will finish quickly.
No, but they have enough. But when cock looked at what was going on and how they were deciding this, he started laughing. So they sent something that it's like a piano that checked the house and they cut the chicken's neck, the hen's neck. So they took it. Meanwhile, tortoise and the wife put their head inside their shell, so it didn't get their neck.
Okay.
So now they prepared the chicken, tied a cloth on it, hung it over the fire on top, very top, and it was dripping wire. It was dripping oil. Tortoise's wife left. Tortoise stayed. Okay. After these people went to sleep, tortoise went and took the chicken again and ate it. After eating the chicken, the cloth itself ran and tied itself on tortoise's waist. Tortoise would move it and throw it away. It will come back. Okay. So he started running. So the spirit then saw that their chicken had been eaten. They started calling their cloth. Ogodome, Keduge, my cloth, where are you? He said, I am on tortoise's waist. So they were following the voice and following tortoise, and tortoise can run fast. So tortoise came to a place and he would remove it, the thing would come back. Then he saw the goat splitting firewood and he said, how can you be there? splitting firewood and you didn't cover your testicles and everywhere, don't you know that the firewood will break it? He said, my dear tortoise, I don't have any cloth to cover myself. Tortoise then took the cloth and gave me. I said, cover yourself very well. So he covered himself very well. Tortoise left.
So to his trickish.
Yeah. So when the spirit called again, my cloth, where are you? They will say, oh, the goat has taken death away from tortoise. So so when God heard that, God was so perplexed. He took it out, threw it away. The thing came back. He said, what? So he started digging ground. After digging, he went inside, covered himself. That's the big. But the two, you know, we have a saying that when you bury yourself, one of your hands will be out. Yes. So he did that, but he didn't know how to cover his horns. The horns were there. So the spirit came. It was like a tree stump, and they hit their toes on it. Said, listen, if you hit me on my way back, I'm going to bring you out and see what you are. But they were calling their cloth, it's not answering anymore because it's inside the ground.
It's now buried
inside the ground. They got tired, they came back. The same thing knocked on their feet. They started hitting knife, trying to dig it out, and then goat came up. And then they called their cloth. The cloth said, goat has taken death from tortoise. So they started asking God what happened. He said this. He said, okay, we'll punish you, we won't kill you. So they peed on him. Okay. So now he smells and he's foolish. Foolish enough to take death from tortoise.
Okay, so they peed on him. And that's how he acquired his smell.
And then that's why he's stupid too.
No, but he was already stupid before then now.
He was stupid.
He said goat. He wasn't stupid before.
See, from this particular story, taking the cloth was not stupidity. He needed to cover himself.
Oh, but he
was following.
Okay, we say this. Right? Before he saw cloth, what was he using?
What was he using?
But somebody offered him a better alternative.
What was Eve eating? And that comes down to us
here. He didn't even
here.
ask himself, is tortoise my friend? Why will he offer me clothes?
What was
somebody
Eve?
out of the blue starts offering you, you will question it a little bit. He took it hook, line, and sinker.
But you see that.
But why Eve no ask the serpent that question now when he began to offer her apples?
No, the serpent offered apple, Abi. But Eve was the one that told the serpent about the apple. Is it not she that?
Yeah, she said that this one we're not supposed to eat it because
he told. He didn't offer her. He just explained to her the benefits that was
of taking that you will be wiser.
You see what?
And when you're wiser, you see more. And of course, they became wiser and they saw more.
And they saw more.
She herself has a dubious character or something because she told the man, this tree, I don't know why this man will not let us eat it. See.
But you see, isn't that the same concept? Even in some families where the woman, remember they said in our culture that when you want so sometimes when they give you that push, do this, others are doing it. See? Or why can't we do this?
That's why they said
then you have to think.
The women are the weaker link because the serpent knew she was the weaker link. And he now said to her,
or that the serpent knows that she is the stronger one because he knows that once you get that strong person, the other one is a case.
Yes.
You see,
yes. Because when you strike the shepherd, it's a shortcut to scattering the sheep. Yes.
So it's easier for the woman to convince the man than the man to convince the woman.
So
we have all kinds of interpretations, right?
Different interpretations. But what I know was that Eve brought it onto herself by telling her, "We have this. My husband has a pot of gold. They will come for it."
So many of them,
So Eve actually told serpent, and serpent being cunning and trickish and
then exploited it
because he knew that he wanted to grab those people away from God. You people can be so happy You can't be living in a comfortable house.
And translate to real life too. Things like that happen to
this husband's house and you're happy, you're this.
Then you go and tell people the source of your happiness.
So here we are, Center for Research in Igbo History and Culture, and it has been quite an interesting time as we've been sharing these stories of our youth, stories of our people, the folk tales by which our people, in the days before the white man's form of education, transferred knowledge, passed information across generations. And I think in those days, I think education was interesting, you know, because I remember especially those Ogolo time, sitting at the feet of our fathers and our mothers and grandparents to be told these stories. And I think they had a way of sticking. Those stories had this way of sticking with us like the postage stamp, so that later when we go across climes and things, like with Prof now, she's a professor now, but you can see that after going here and there, these stories have stuck.
They don't need any cane to tell us.
They didn't
inculcate that knowledge.
Yes.
They did not need any punishment to inculcate that knowledge. And I take it back to what I say when it comes to teaching people. If you really make your class very interesting, you don't need any punishment. You don't need any cane. If you make your class interesting, whether you're using storytelling or activities or that's the essence of teaching. Even now in this technological age, you can make your class interesting by using stories, activities, and all that, and not punishment.
So as a teacher, let's close on this. As a teacher, what object lessons do you think the current educational system and teachers could gain from the way our ancestors taught transferred knowledge in those days?
I guess that's what I just said now, that transference of knowledge doesn't imply punishment for non-understanding of that knowledge. Because when you punish a child, you alienate the child. Because the child can act two ways. He can decide to pretend that he understood it when he didn't, or will become stubborn, right? So try as much as possible to inculcate whatever knowledge you want to inculcate without using punishment as your vehicle. Because sometimes I see people, because the child did not answer correctly, tell it and kneel down. What will kneeling down do to make the child understand it? The poor child was trying to understand. If he was playing, then do something to get the child's attention. Like when I teach, where I teach, I don't want to mention where, most often, if you're passing through the hallway, you will think that we have a market, because everybody will laughing, talking, because anytime there is dog, I tell a story. I remember a joke, mostly a joke. I remember the joke I told them about, this thing was something I had from Joel Austin, but it was about something else. So I transferred it into being intelligent and being brilliant, trying to show them that there are two different things. I said, okay, there was this situation where the rocket scientist, the doctor, the brain surgeon, and a 13-year-old boy, and the Pope, that one that was so old when he died, right? Four of them were in an aircraft. So the plane was going to crash, but they needed one person to hold it for some time while the others will jump up. But they had only 3 parachutes to get out. So they said the best 3 people can use the parachute, and the 4th person will hold that. The 4th person will hold that plane. So as they were, but you have to make a point to show that you are the best. Brain surgeon got up and said how he operates on every surgeon, presidents, everybody. Without him, people will die and all that. He grabbed one and jumped out. Rocket scientists thought about how he invented everything, including the parachutes. He grabbed something and jumped out. Then the Pope said to the 13-year-old boy, "It's only one left. Take it and jump out. I'll hold this. I'm already an ancestor. I'm in the other world." The boy said, "No, we still have 2 parachutes." The Pope said, "What? But we have 4." He said, "Don't worry. The rocket scientist jumped out of the aircraft with my backpack."
Well, in school bag.
So he knows everything. He invented it, but he had never seen it. So I always tell my students, practical. You have to own it.
Yes.
Know it and own it, not just you can know the theory without knowing the practical part of it. I know what a phone is like. I define a phone. I remember when they used to, somebody would say, I study computer science. He knows all the theory, but he's never touched a keyboard. So how will you function?
Yes. Now she's gotten me where I really want to come in. This education thing now should not be just going to read books. You sit in the classroom, they teach it. The life part of it also will help informing them. No? That's the part I want to add to what you have just said.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So I think it has been quite an interesting time, and I think it is something we should, this conversation I think we need to have again. You know, I think we need to, yes, we need to have it again, maybe better streamlined, you know, because I think there are certain rich seams that we've not been able to explore. Yes, and I don't know when Prof is going to pass this way again. Maybe this time we'll meet at a house at the Center for Research in Igbo History.
Or you come to my house at Ogidi.
But you need to see these areas. I was telling you about what